This man unfortunately fell into the quagmire, but he was not panicked at all. He gently moved his body and then carefully grabbed the vines. However, the thin vines could not support his weight at all. As the vines were torn off, he was gradually swallowed up by the swamp. But even so, he still did not give up, because his trapped wife and children were still waiting for his first aid. So he relied on his strong belief and struggled to crawl forward with his arms exposed. His tenacious will drove him to successfully climb out. Although he was very tired, it was not time to rest. At this time, a group of enemies were chasing him. The man stood up and wanted to escape, but soon he stopped again. At this moment, he finally understood that because escaping would never solve the problem, he was no longer fearful. He took the killer beehive and threw it over. The enemies were immediately bitten and screamed. While escaping, the man discovered a highly poisonous frog. The toxin he released can kill an elephant within 3 minutes. Then he pulled out the sharp thorns on the tree, and after being covered with poison from frogs, he made a simple blowpipe out of leaves. When the enemy came after him, the man locked onto the target and hit the vital point with one blow. In just a few seconds, the enemy was no longer alive. The man wanted to step forward and stab him, but he bumped into the enemy, who turned back. The man's eyes gradually became cold, and he rushed towards the enemy like a violent beast. But after just one encounter, the man was the first to fall into a disadvantage. Although the opponent hit him on the forehead, this also gave him an opportunity to pick up the weapon on the ground. He successfully delivered a fatal blow to the other party. However, before he could catch his breath, a heavy rain poured down again. The man suddenly felt that something was wrong. Remembering that his wife and children were still trapped in the deep pit, he ran over there without stopping. At this time, as the accumulated water quickly poured in, the mother and child in the deep pit suddenly panicked, and the wife also reacted at this time. The baby in her belly was about to be born. When the man arrived, the rain had already submerged half of their bodies. He finally succeeded in rescuing his trapped wife and children. The family of Fur was finally reunited.